Memory can begin to feel scattered after 60, even during simple moments like searching for a word, trying to recall a name, or losing track of a thought halfway through a sentence. Some seniors describe it as if the mind still works, but the connection feels slower, softer, or harder to hold on to. That is why this single brain exercise has become so meaningful. It strengthens the pathways that support memory and mental clarity in a way that feels gentle but powerful. With a few minutes of daily practice, many older adults notice their thinking becoming steadier, sharper, and more reliable again. If staying mentally sharp matters to you, consider joining this community, where simple guidance supports the mind at every age. Subscribing helps more seniors find information that strengthens memory and confidence. Leaving a like or comment also allows these messages to reach those who may quietly need them the most. Number 1, the warm-up. Slow, mindful breathing. Slow, mindful breathing begins the exercise by preparing the brain to think clearly. Some researchers explain that when breathing becomes steady and intentional, oxygen reaches the deeper areas of the brain that support memory and attention. This gentle increase in oxygen flow helps older adults feel more centered, making it easier for thoughts to settle and organize. Many seniors notice that when the breath slows, the restless feeling in the mind softens, allowing clearer focus to replace mental clutter. Doctors often recommend this type of breathing because it lowers stress signals that interfere with memory, especially in people over 60. Each slow inhale encourages the brain to wake up, and each calm exhale helps release tension that blocks clarity. With just a minute of this warm-up, the mind becomes more prepared to absorb information, recall details, and stay steady through the rest of the exercise, creating a strong foundation for sharper memory. Number 2, memory activation step. Name and notice. The memory activation step begins by simply naming objects around you and noticing one small detail about each. Some cognitive specialists explain that this practice strengthens short-term memory by forcing the brain to observe, store, and recall information in real time. Seniors often find that this step wakes up areas of the mind that have grown quieter with age, especially those involved in attention and recognition. By naming an object and noticing a single feature, such as color, shape, or texture, the brain practices holding a thought without letting it slip. This gentle challenge encourages the recall centers to stay active, which can make everyday remembering feel easier over time. The exercise works because it slows the mind enough to focus on one clear point rather than many scattered ones. With regular practice, many older adults describe a steadier sense of awareness, as if the mind becomes more present and ready to hold on to details throughout the day. Number 3, the cross-lateral movement, hand-to-knee pattern. The cross-lateral movement strengthens memory by stimulating both sides of the brain at the same time. Some therapists explain that cross-lateral movements help reconnect pathways responsible for coordination, attention, and recall, which often weaken naturally after 60. By lifting one knee and gently touching it with the opposite hand, the brain is encouraged to communicate across its two hemispheres, creating a small but meaningful challenge that supports clearer thinking. Many seniors say this step brings a noticeable sense of alertness, as if the mind becomes more awake and ready to process information. Doctors often recommend similar movements in cognitive rehabilitation because they reinforce the connections needed for problem-solving and decision-making. The motion does not need to be fast or forceful. Even a slow, comfortable pace encourages the brain to work in a more organized way. Over time, this simple coordination exercise can help older adults feel steadier, sharper, and more mentally responsive. Number 4, the pattern recall challenge, 3-word sequence. The pattern recall challenge strengthens working memory by asking the brain to hold and repeat a short sequence of 3 simple words. Some cognitive researchers explain that this type of mental rehearsal activates the same pathways used for remembering conversations, instructions, and daily tasks. Seniors often find that practicing a small sequence helps them feel more confident when recalling details in everyday life. The exercise works best when the words are unrelated, because the brain must concentrate more carefully to keep them in order. As the sequence is repeated, the mind becomes more engaged, creating a gentle workout for the systems that support memory retention. Doctors sometimes use similar techniques in memory therapy because they encourage the brain to stay active without overwhelming it. With regular practice, many older adults notice quick improvements in their ability to retain names, errands, and short lists, making the mind feel steadier and more dependable throughout the day. Number 5, the clarity step, visual focus reset. The visual focus reset helps clear mental fog by shifting the eyes between something near and something far. Some vision and brain specialists explain that this movement resets the brain's attention circuits, which can become strained with age or long periods of stillness. Seniors often describe a sense of heaviness behind the eyes when concentration fades, and this simple shift in focus encourages the mind to reawaken. By looking at a nearby object, then gently moving the gaze to something across the room or outside a window, the brain transitions between detail and distance, helping thoughts feel better organized. This process supports clarity because it forces the mind to adjust, refocus, and regain control over wandering attention. Doctors sometimes use similar techniques to help adults reduce mental fatigue. Over time, this step can make thinking feel lighter, sharper, and more refreshed, creating space for clearer decisions and stronger memory throughout the day. Number 6, the mind map moment, connecting two unrelated words. The mind map moment strengthens cognitive flexibility by linking two unrelated words in a simple mental connection. Some cognitive specialists explain that this practice encourages the brain to form new pathways, which become especially important as natural aging slows mental speed and problem solving. Seniors often find this step surprisingly calming because it gives the mind a clear task without pressure. By selecting two random words and forming a small link between them, the brain practices shifting between ideas smoothly, a skill that supports clearer thinking and better decision-making. Researchers note that exercises involving flexible thought patterns help maintain the brain's ability to adapt, which often declines after 60. The strength of this technique lies in its simplicity. The mind is gently challenged to create meaning where none existed, reinforcing mental agility. With consistent practice, many older adults notice a clearer conversation flow, thoughts feel more organized, and clarity returns more quickly during daily tasks. Number 7, the positive recall boost, one good memory. The positive recall boost activates emotional memory centers by encouraging the mind to revisit one comforting moment. Some memory researchers explain that recalling a positive experience stimulates areas of the brain linked to stability, focus, and clarity. Seniors often notice that when they revisit a pleasant memory, their thoughts feel less scattered and more grounded. This step works because the brain responds strongly to emotion, and positive emotions help quiet the stress signals that interfere with clear thinking. By gently recalling a moment of joy, peace, or accomplishment, the mind practices holding on to meaningful details, which supports overall memory strength. Doctors note that emotional recall can improve mood and reduce the mental noise that makes concentration harder. Over time, this small practice can help older adults feel more centered, more hopeful, and more mentally steady, allowing the brain to approach daily challenges with greater clarity and confidence. Number 8, the calm down seal, 20-second stillness. The calm down seal helps the brain secure everything it has just practiced by ending the routine with 20 seconds of stillness. Some specialists explain that the mind absorbs information more effectively when it is allowed a quiet moment before shifting back into daily activity. Seniors often describe this pause as the moment when everything settles, giving their thoughts a sense of order. During this brief stillness, the brain reduces stress signals and strengthens the pathways involved in memory and clarity. It creates a gentle bridge between focused exercise and the rest of the day, allowing the benefits to last longer. Doctors sometimes use similar pauses in cognitive therapy to help reinforce new mental patterns. Though only a few seconds long, this step gives the mind time to breathe, process, and reset. With consistent use, many older adults feel calmer, more balanced, and more mentally prepared for whatever comes next. Number 9, daily integration tip: how to use this exercise each morning. Practicing this exercise each morning helps the brain build consistency, which specialists say is one of the most important factors in maintaining memory after 60. Seniors often report that their clearest moments come earlier in the day, making morning the ideal time to strengthen focus before distractions begin. By completing each step gently and without rushing, the mind learns to move from calm breathing into attention, coordination, recall, and clarity in a natural flow. Doctors emphasize that repetition allows the brain to form stronger pathways, and this routine becomes more effective the more regularly it is used. Even on days when the mind feels slow or foggy, the familiar pattern helps thoughts organize themselves more quickly.